Okay, imagine this. What if the next big step in fighting, one of our toughest diseases wasn't some huge new drug, but something almost invisible, doing really massive work? We might be right on the edge of a revolution in how we diagnose and treat cancer. So today on the deep dive, we're really jumping into the deep end of cutting-edge nanotechnology. We're focusing specifically on gold, silver, and iron oxide nanoparticles. Now, these aren't just like interesting materials. Our sources are calling them a new generation of multifunctional nanoplatforms. And our mission, really, for you today is to pull out the most crucial bits of information, those nuggets of knowledge about how these unique particles are being engineered. Engineered for, well, incredibly targeted, efficient, and minimally invasive cancer therapy.
Yeah, exactly. And it's more than just fighting the cancer itself, right? It's about transforming diagnosis too. It's about seriously boosting how well treatments work and crucially cutting down on that harsh systemic toxicity, the side effects that often come with the traditional therapies. This deep dive should give you a kind of shortcut to getting a handle on a really complex and fast-moving area of medicine.
Right, exactly. So get ready for maybe some surprising facts, some real aha moments about how this tiny tech is really poised to make a huge difference. Let's dig in. Okay, so let's kick off with gold nanoparticles,
Right.
AUNPs. What makes them such a front runner here? What are the unique things they bring to the table?
Well, their appeal really comes down to a few key things. First, they're pretty inert, which means the body generally tolerates them well. They're also relatively easy to modify, and they have these excellent optical properties. So what that means, big picture, is that their surface can be engineered really precisely. You can functionalize them, attach specific targeting, things like antibodies or peptides, plus drugs and imaging agents. This lets you get incredibly precise tumor-specific delivery.
Okay, so they get there precisely, and then once they're delivered, what's one of their most powerful ways to actually start treatment? How do they attack the cancer?
That's where something called photothermal therapy, or PTT, comes in. Gold nanoparticles are exceptionally good at turning near-infrared light, which can penetrate tissue, into heat. Just imagine, a future where we can literally target and sort of cook cancer cells from the inside out with really pinpoint precision, just using light and these tiny gold particles.
Yeah.
And it's not just about the heat. It's about getting surgical-like accuracy without a scalpel, minimizing that collateral damage to healthy tissue in a way, well, traditional therapies often struggle with.
That sounds incredibly precise.
Yeah.
Beyond this photothermal therapy, what else can gold nanoparticles do therapeutically, and how do they maybe improve on older methods?
Right. They're also really powerful for drug delivery. They have this huge surface area to volume ratio. Think about that. Tiny particle, lots of surface. It means you can load a significant amount of chemotherapy drugs onto them. And this allows for controlled, targeted drug release right where it's needed most.
Okay.
Which is just a game changer for reducing those, really brutal systemic side effects you get with normal chemo. It makes the whole patient experience potentially much, much better. And for diagnosis, AUNPs can also enhance contrast in things like CT scans and optical imaging. That's vital for, well, both finding tumors early and for monitoring in real time how well the treatments are actually working.
Fascinating stuff. Okay, let's shift gears a bit. Silver nanoparticles, AGNPs, they've got a slightly different kind of superpower, right? What's unique about how they fight cancer?
They do, yeah. Their unique strength is their potent cytotoxic properties. Basically, they can directly kill cancer cells. They're quite remarkable in their ability to generate reactive oxygen species. ROS, disrupt mitochondrial function, the cell's powerhouses, and trigger apoptosis. That's programmed cell death, so essentially telling the cancer cell to self-destruct. And what's really insightful, I think, is their intrinsic anti-cancer activity. This means they can work even without carrying a drug payload, which offers a pretty significant advantage, especially when you're dealing with drug-resistant tumors. I mean, think about it. Drug resistance is one of the biggest hurdles in chemotherapy, right? Where the cancer cells just stop responding to our best drugs. Silver nanoparticles offer a whole new way to potentially get around that, maybe giving us options where we thought we were running out.
So that direct cell killing ability, that's a major potential breakthrough. Does this intrinsic activity also mean they could work with existing treatments, maybe boost them?
Absolutely. Yeah, that's a key area. When you combine AGMPs with traditional chemo or radiation, they can significantly enhance the cytotoxic effects, helping to overcome that drug resistance we just talked about.
Okay.
And they're also turning out to be incredibly useful in Biosensing, detecting cancer biomarkers, thanks to something called strong surface plasmon resonance. It's basically a very sensitive way they interact with light, allowing them to detect even tiny traces of specific cancer markers, like a microscopic alarm system.
That sounds incredibly promising. But our sources also flagged a note of caution here. They mentioned their toxicity profile needs careful thought. What are the main things to watch out for there?
That's a critical point, yes.
Mhm.
While that direct killing power is exciting, you absolutely have to ensure it's selective. You want them killing cancer cells with minimal harm to healthy tissues.
Hmm.
So maximizing their therapeutic index, the balance between efficacy and toxicity, is a primary focus of ongoing research. It has to be safe.
Right, safety first. Okay, next up, Iron Oxide Nanoparticles, IONPs. Especially the superparamagnetic ones, SPONs. These seem pretty widely used already in both diagnosis and therapy, and it sounds like it's all down to their unique magnetic properties.
Precisely. Their biocompatibility is generally good, and they have this somewhat surprising ability to cross certain biological barriers that are normally quite tricky. For diagnosis, SPONs are really efficient contrast agents for MRI magnetic resonance imaging. They essentially make tumors light up much more clearly on the scan. High-resolution, non-invasive imaging.
Sure, I've seen those clear MRI scans. And on the therapy side, how do we actually use those magnetic properties for treatment?
So for treatment, one major application is magnetic hyperthermia. If you expose these IONPs to an alternating magnetic field, they generate heat locally. So again, it's another way to selectively heat and destroy tumor cells from the inside. Very targeted heating.
Another heating method. Interesting.
Yes, and what's more, their magnetic nature means you can potentially use external magnets to guide them, to pull them and help them accumulate at the tumor site.
Really? Like tractor beams for nanoparticles.
Sort of. It enhances the delivery of whatever therapeutic payload they're carrying right where you want it, makes them incredibly valuable for targeted drug delivery too.
Okay, and this seems to lead us right into a really revolutionary idea. Theranostic. Combining therapy and diagnostics. How do IONPs really embody that?
Yes, theranostics. What's truly powerful about IONPs is their ability to package both functions, diagnosis and therapy. They let you monitor treatment efficacy in real time. So it's like having a treatment that can simultaneously report back on how well it's working, all in one go. This gives clinicians just unprecedented feedback, the ability to see if it's working, and potentially adjust treatments on the fly.
It really sounds like there's huge potential, especially when these different nanoparticles are combined. Our sources mentioned creating hybrid or composite structures. How does mixing and matching them take things even further?
Yeah, it's all about synergy, right? Getting effects that a single type of nanoparticle maybe can't achieve on its own. By combining gold, silver, iron oxide, you can integrate diagnostics, imaging, drug delivery, and different therapies into one single nanostructure. For example, you could have an Fe₃O₄ hybrid, gold and iron oxide together. That could give you the MRI visibility from the iron oxide combined with the photothermal therapy capability from the gold. Best of both worlds.
That's incredibly smart. What other sorts of combinations are people looking at?
Well, another example might be silver-coated Fe₃O nanoparticles. So you combine the anticancer punch of silver with the magnetic targeting you get from iron oxide. And the possibilities even go out to trimetallic nanostructures, 3 different metals, which could potentially allow for multimodal imaging using different scan types, plus stimuli-responsive drug release, maybe triggered by conditions in the tumor, and combined therapies like chemo, photothermal, and hyperthermia, all working together. It's really like building a sophisticated multi-tool specifically designed for fighting cancer.
Okay, so if we just step back, take a breath, and look at the big picture,
Yeah.
what does all this really mean for the future of cancer treatment? It really does sound like these tiny materials are, as the sources put it, a versatile and powerful arsenal for next-generation cancer therapy.
They absolutely are. I mean, by harnessing their unique properties,
Yeah.
engineering them for targeted delivery, for responding to stimuli, for combined strategies, these nanomaterials hold just immense promise. They could genuinely transform cancer care into something much more precise, much more personalized, and ultimately far more effective than what we've often had before.
It's incredibly exciting to think about this new era of precision medicine, but there's still critical work needed, isn't there, to get this from the lab bench to the patient's bedside?
Yes, absolutely. That's crucial to remember. While these advancements are incredibly exciting, we need continued rigorous research. The key areas our sources really highlight are, first, safety, extensive safety testing. Second, understanding their biodistribution, exactly where do they go in the body, how long do they stay there. And third, crucially, is clinical translation.
Right.
That's the vital,
often complex step of getting these innovations from promising lab results into actual real-world patient care. It involves navigating regulatory hurdles, figuring out large-scale manufacturing. It's a big jump.
Yeah, a necessary jump, though. This whole deep dive into gold, silver, and iron oxide nanoparticles, it really makes you wonder, doesn't it? How might integrating diagnosis and therapy, this whole theranostics idea, fundamentally change what it's like to be a patient? I mean, just imagine a future where your cancer treatment isn't just highly effective, but it's also being constantly monitored and fine-tuned in real time by these tiny, almost intelligent tools inside you. And you start to think what other diseases, beyond cancer might benefit from similar nanotechnology approaches down the line. These tiny breakthroughs, they really might reshape medicine as we know it, creating a truly profoundly personalized approach to health, tailored right down to the cellular level. Makes you think.